All right, Peter King in less than 30 minutes. I am very, very much looking forward to this conversation.
Yes. Very much.
What do you want to ask him?
What do I want to ask him?
Yeah.
When did he know? When did he know something was off?
When did he know something was off?
You make the pick.
Through his eyes or through his information?
Both. Both. You make the pick. He gets in the building, sits behind Jimmy, but then that next year, something happened because Trey was dinged up a little bit. That next summer, coming into giving him the keys, what was it they were hoping to see that they did not see?
That's a good question. I mean, if you do go back to, and it was like, I wonder if we can go back and find the date of when Jimmy was brought back.
Right.
It was
because he was throwing on the sideline.
It was something right around now. Like the anniversary is right around now. I don't have the exact date. But It was something right around now. And we spent probably at least a week, and then obviously the bleed over that went the whole year, but at least a week of arguing whether or not this meant the Niners were not terribly comfortable with what was going on with Trey, or were the Niners just being opportunistic?
Yeah.
And I had a hard time every time I heard someone go, you can never have too many good quarterbacks.
Right.
Oh, yes, you can.
Yeah.
Yes, you can. And actually, we shouldn't even call them good quarterbacks. We didn't know what Trey Lance was, and there'll forever be an argument over what word you want to use to describe Jimmy Garoppolo. But I firmly believe that when you are, as you said, giving someone the keys at age 22, you do not put an accomplished name like that
guy
on his shoulders.
That guy,
right?
Specifically.
Right.
And by the way, I'm seeing August 29th last year is when the restructured contract.
Wow.
So we're not even there yet.
Yeah.
So to those of you who called in and talked about like, oh my, the plan of this, that, and the other, it was like you had already had your fantasy draft when this guy got picked back up.
Yep.
We were a stone's throw from week one. You were planning your Labor Day barbecue.
Hey, it's just and going back to Kyle Shanahan lied to us. That was one to where if you believed what they said, hey, it just happened the way it did, and how could we're just happy? We're thrilled. We're thrilled. There's nothing behind it.
Jimmy. Jimmy's like, I love losing $15 million.
Yeah.
Amazeballs.
And you know what I love even more? Sitting on the bench.
Yeah.
And my agent definitely didn't tell me that there's a chance that I'd be starting.
This was a wonderful experience to be on this side field that everyone started calling the kiddie field for the last 2 weeks. That was great.
Yeah.
I love this team. I love Kyle Shanahan. I can't wait to go walk out the back of the end zone in Denver in 2 weeks without any training camp.
Exactly.
This is awesome.
Exactly.
So again, that's the one. What would you have liked Kyle to say? Oh, Kyle lied. Okay. So Kyle Shanahan calls a press conference. So here's the deal. We were calling teams all off season, and nobody wants to pay Jimmy's salary because he got hurt, and the league actually doesn't think he's going to be as good with them as he is with us. And then, oh, by the way, Trey Lance has been cruising around here in training camp, and it doesn't look that great. We really like this kid Brock, by the way. I know that sounds crazy. He was Mr. Irrelevant. We really dig what he's doing, but we don't quite have the credibility to start him yet because he's never played a football game before at the NFL level. So yeah, that's the end of my TED Talk. That's what you wanted him to say? You want brutal honesty.
It's easy to say that now, but nobody wanted that. Nobody wanted that.
You can't do that.
No.
Ever.
Nobody does that.
Of course not.
But this is the aftermath.
Yeah.
Talk. Let's see if we're still taking these calls. Niners are what? 7-2. I guarantee you it's going to go away, Willard. It's going to go away. Winning cures everything.
But you're always going to be one play away from it coming back.
And, hey, I just want to say.
The Niners are 15-0.
Sam Darnold's arm talent.
Sam Darnold will come in. Trey Lance, Kirk Cousins will get hurt. Lance goes in and wins one game, and Sam loses the first game for the 49ers he plays. Bedlam.
I need it. I need it.
Now,
I need it.
Very unlikely scenario.
I need it.
But yeah, I don't think you're just going to wiggle free of this. I think if they win, they should, but that's not, as you, I think, have very, very accurately stated today. That's not really how fans operate, nor am I asking them to. There's going to be an emotional response.
Right.
And Trey Lance, for whatever reason, whether it be draft stock, whether it be the specter of the speed, the legs, whatever. I mean, let's just put it the social side of this.
Right.
Whatever it is, he has struck a chord with people, and that's great. That's great for Trey. Like, something happened that connected with a lot of people to where there's an emotional attachment there. And that's wonderful. That's great. It's great for Trey, and it was great for the 49ers if it had worked. If he could go out and be awesome at football. He's not been able to do that yet. Not yet.
Not yet, and it's not going to happen. It's not going to happen on the Niners unless Trey decides he wants to stay, or they can't find a trade partner and he chills at QB3, and things would have to go very wrong for Trey to see the field in a real game again for the Niners.
That would be so Niners, by the way.
It would be.
With what we have experienced the last 26 hours,
yeah.
If Trey Lance starts even a game for the 49ers this year, what kind of odds would you put on that?
So we talked about it during the break, and I want to do it again here, live and in the flesh. If you are, and we can maybe even talk to Peter King about this coming up at 3:30. If you are a team looking at Trey Lance, do you still view him as a prospect? Is he a player or a prospect?
I think he's still a prospect.
He has to be.
He's only started 4 games.
He has to be.
I don't know. You know what I mean?
But do you want to? 23 is young as a player. Is it young as a prospect?
I will say that there are probably. I would actually the sort of advanced answer, I guess, to your question. I would bet that some teams do and some teams don't. Did you see the Diana Rossini tweet yesterday about Rand Carthon of the Tennessee Titans?
Yeah.
Now he was with the 49ers, and then midsummer he takes over as the GM of the Titans, and they're the Titans. They're literally looking for a young quarterback, and the Niners are on the phone to the whole NFL going, I think we would like to maybe talk about moving Trey to a different spot, and Rand was uninterested. And as she wrote it, these are her words, not mine, Rand Carthon knew what the 49ers knew.
And you got, who's out? You got Malik Willis.
Yeah.
Okay. They got, and the mayonnaise guy.
What's his name?
Will Levis.
Will Levis, who just signed the lifetime deal with mayonnaise. And he can spin it, though. Now that guy,
they can all spin it.
Now that guy, that guy's got some tools there.
I love it when we do that.
That guy's got a ceiling.
He can spin it. Yeah, he's in the NFL.
He can spin it, though.
He can spin the ball. I don't know if he can read a defense, make a decision, stay healthy,
but he can
spin
and that's all
ball.
I care about. Get him in some basketball shorts.
And Tannehill's still there.
He can't spin it, though.
He can spin it,
bro. He can't spin it.
He can spin it.
Not like Levis.
Ryan Tannehill, there was a metric I saw just a couple days ago where he had what was his best season? He had one of the best 15 seasons that a quarterback has ever had.
Right.
By metrics, not by 50 touchdown passes. Sure. But he can spin it, man. He can sling it, too. I don't know if you know that.
Another guy who you'll look back at his career and say, I don't know what to do with that.
Ryan Tannehill?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's going to just be it's be there.
Yeah.
He
played.
It's Alex Smith-esque light. Alex did more in the playoffs, but it has that sort of feel, and probably statistically better than you realize, is what I would bet.
But how does that
for Ryan Tannehill?
What does that matter now with how the game has changed? That's what I struggle with.
What do you mean?
Well, the numbers, right, and how throw happy the league is becoming.
Well, that's part of it for sure. Ryan Tannehill, just because I'm curious now. Okay. This dude's got 212 touchdowns against 108 interceptions. Career.
Mm-hmm.
And that year that I'm talking about was 2019, when this dude, first of all, I guess he only started 10 games. There was an injury in there, but he went 7-3, 22 touchdowns, 6 picks, and an overall rating of 117.5.
He's a dude.
On his resume, he can spin it.
Now he can spin it. Now that you've read that to me, all right, he can spin
totally
it.
Spin it. Jonathan in the city here with Willard and Styles. Hey, Jonathan, what are you doing?
Hey, what's up, Mark? I'm just enjoying the sun. It's warm weather. Summer's finally here.
I'm glad you're finding it. It's colder today everywhere I've been, but okay, Jonathan.
Yeah, it's just I find it weird that the 49er fan base are holding Kyle Shanahan to be perfect. I mean, the guy is literally in the Final Four on a regular, right? We all want him to win the big one, but he's working at it. And I don't understand why they're blaming him for what happened to Trey Lance. Look, people, it's not his fault that for a mobile quarterback, Trey Lance cannot get away from the front seven, okay? It's not his fault that for a guy with a rocket arm, the guy is inaccurate. And it's not his fault that Brock Purdy happened. That's the only reason why he's not blamed. Brock Purdy happened. And I don't know why they don't like Kyle Shanahan or Brock Purdy. Brock Purdy is literally perfect. I mean, the guy took the offense from scoring 20-plus points to 30-plus points. If he would have played the whole season, the guy's an all-pro. I mean, what's not to like? Hey, come on, people. We're all 49ers fans. We're not cheering for a particular player. We're cheering for the Shield.
Yes,
so wake up, people.
Yeah, Jonathan, that's the for me the end all be all. Thanks, Jonathan. The end all be all is if you're a 49er fan, I the whole time I have wanted the quarterback to be whoever will win the most games. Mm-hmm. Now, is Brock Purdy Mr. Perfect? No, but I will say this. I think it's silly how many times y'all want to bring up the word develop. Shanahan doesn't know how to develop a quarterback. When someone responds, well, what about Brock Purdy? Well, he had 4 years of college. What the hell is that?
See, I got into this.
Do you know how many people have played 4 years of college? You don't just, especially when you, quote unquote, have no skills. You have no raw skills. You're the 7th round draft pick. You're the last pick in the draft. Mm-hmm. And we're going to act like he was just, well, that's why he walked in and he was good. Do not act like you saw it coming. Do not act like there was no development there because Brock played college football. A lot of people play college football. You don't get to just be good in the NFL because you played college football.
Well, but it depends. It depends on your definition of development. So the reason I push back on Kyle Shanahan and his development of Brock is simply the timeline, right? It's simply the timeline of when they drafted Brock. How different was Brock from when they drafted him to when he actually played? So if your definition of development is putting Brock in good situations during the game, I hear you. But if it's, hey, we're working through practice and he used to do this, there was less that he had to develop because of the time that he spent in college.
But he's also had, if you want to call it that, like I see your point, but he's probably had, for all the people, they never gave Trey a chance. Brock Purdy, before this training camp, has probably had one, I'm just guessing here, one training camp rep for every 20 that Trey has had until this camp.
But that would be.
I know you're going to say
that to my side though.
Not necessarily. Like a huge piece of this is also just the player you are.
Yeah.
Like, are you good or not? Are you picking it up? Kyle Shanahan is teaching a system.
But those are two different guys,
He is working. Yes. I'm not going to tell you that it doesn't give you some sort of an advantage on your starting spot. Mm-hmm. But to act like because he went to college, well, that explains why he went 8-0 in the pros. What?
No.
No. So, yes, Kyle gets some credit for that. They assessed him. They drafted him. They worked with him. There's a QB room. Mm-hmm. They go through film study. They like all of those things. And yes, Brock got better. Like Brock got better from the time he was drafted in the NFL draft to when training camp was happening and further. So you definitely have a point. Mm-hmm. I'm not saying the starting block is the same. But to say that Kyle Shanahan,
he shouldn't get zero credit. I'm not saying zero.
Especially when you're talking about an assessed 7th round talent. I mean, what about that? What about that aspect of it?
Well, they were surprised that he was still there.
Trey has all kinds of gifts that Brock doesn't even have.
I'm just honestly, I just got to take a break from this, Willard. I just want the season to start.
You may not.
I just want the season to
What
start.
do you want to do? An hour of Ohtani?
I mean, that would be lovely, but we're not going to do that.
Not a lot cheaper, brother.
I just want the season to start because all these question marks, if you have question marks for Brock, they'll get answered. If you don't have question marks for Brock, then we'll see if you were right or not. I just want the season to start.
Of course,
honestly.
of course. I mean, we all want that.